Hi, my name is Christopher Snell. I'm a USCF chess expert, and this is an introductory lesson on the game of chess. I'm going to be talking about pawns. Okay, so a pawn looks like this, pawn. There's 8 for white at the beginning, and 8 for black at the beginning. They start out for white on the second row, and for black, like this. Okay, but let's simplify things. Just look at one pawn for each side. So, a pawn on its first move can move 2 squares, or it can move 1 square. But then it has to move 1 square the rest of the time. So, if we just have a white pawn, it can move 2 squares the first time the pawn moves, or it can move 1 square. So, this would be the first move. It could move another square, the second move, third move, fourth move, fifth move. And when it reaches the end of the board, it has to be exchanged for another piece. It can't be exchanged for a king, but it can be exchanged for a queen, a bishop, a knight, or a rook. Usually, it gets exchanged for a queen because the queen is the most powerful piece. But there are some circumstances where you would underpromote it to a different piece, and in that case, it would be better. But normally, most cases, it's promoted to a queen because the queen is the most powerful piece. Now, if we go back to the beginning, and we set up some pawns, let's just set up 2 pawns. So a pawn can move 1 square at the beginning, or it can move 2 squares at the beginning. Okay, this one's already moved 1, so it has to move up again. This guy can't move any forward because there's a pawn already in the way. Okay, so if white wanted to move here, white can move here, okay, but pawns, they capture diagonally, okay, so if there was a piece here, it could take the pawn. If there was a piece here, it could take the pawn. Since there is a piece for a pawn here, this guy can take the pawn, okay, and this guy can move forward, okay, and if black moved here, white could take the pawn because it's diagonal, okay? But on the first move for the pawn, black can move 2 squares, okay? And there's a special rule here that if black moves 2 squares at the beginning, and there's a pawn here, that if there was a pawn here or here, okay, and black moves 2 squares, white can capture this pawn like it moved 1 square, provided he does it that move turn. So white can capture that pawn, and the game continues.